Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing good. Hope you all are doing happy, doing blessed, doing safe, and doing well. Welcome to your Geek Report for the weeks of November 3rd through November 14th of 2025. We've got a few news items to talk about, so let's get started. So first off, we're going to start off in our movie and TV segment. Our first story we're going to talk about is the Mass Effect show. Now, this past 2 weeks was Mass Effect Day. And we got some news concerning not only a Mass Effect show, but a Mass Effect game. And in this section, I'm going to talk about what we all learned about the Mass Effect show being in production at Amazon. Then we got a new Super Mario Galaxy trailer dropping. This is a sequel to the more recent Super Mario Bros. Animated film that came out a little while back. I'm going to take a look at it and just kind of give you my overall thoughts and opinions on it. Then we have a late addition. Just as I was getting ready to start editing everything, Fallout Season 2 drops their trailer. Now, this is a TV series over on Amazon Prime that is basically an adaptation of the popular video game series. And while I don't know a whole lot about either the show or the game lore, I took a look at the trailer and kind of gave you some overall thoughts and opinions on it. Then moving on into our gaming news segment. Like I talked about earlier, we got news not only about a Mass Effect show being made at Amazon, but also a new Mass Effect game in production over at BioWare. I'm going to talk about this a little bit and just give you some of my overall thoughts and opinions on the news we got and what it can mean for the future of this series in video games. Then we got some huge news that Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed until November of 2026. Now, originally, Grand Theft Auto 6, one of the biggest games set to be released next year, was meant to come out at the beginning of the year. But according to a statement, they talked about reasons for delaying it until November. Which means now, not only will Grand Theft Auto be releasing right before Black Friday, but it'll be going up against Call of Duty. So I'm going to kind of talk about what's all going on here and what this all means for not only games releasing at that time frame, but before and after the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. And then finally, I'm going to talk about the new Metroid Prime 4 Beyond trailer. Now, this was a trailer for the newest entry in the Metroid Prime series that's set to come out this December. I don't know a whole lot about Metroid. It's been a while since I played a Metroid game. But I'm going to take a look at the trailer and we're going to kind of talk about it and I'll give you some overall thoughts and opinions on it. So sit back, relax, grab yourself something to eat, grab yourself something to drink, and let's look at the Geek Report for the weeks of November 3rd through November 14th of 2025.
Now, let's begin our Geek Report in our TV and movie segment. So, let's see what big news dropped in the past 2 weeks in the world of TV, movies, and anime.
Starting off in our movie and TV news for this week, we got some exciting news about a show that is going to be coming on Amazon Prime in the near future. And when I mean near future, I mean 2026, 2027-ish. A while back, and when I mean a while, I don't mean like super long ago, but around 2007, 2011, there was a trilogy of games called Mass Effect. Now, I absolutely love these trilogy of games. Okay? These were really done, really well games that basically were almost like Star Wars for video games. Okay? They had that sense of adventure, all that stuff that Star Wars had in movies, these games had in the video game realm. Okay? And the name of the game series was Mass Effect. Okay. And basically, you played a human who, along with the rest of humanity, had gone out into space and discovered all these other aliens. And you came upon a conspiracy to wipe out all organic life in the universe. And the way the game did things was your choices determined the outcome of the game. You could either have a good ending or a bad ending, depending on your choices. And the final game in the series didn't really have a good or bad ending. It just had an ending where you made certain choices. Okay. Well, these past 2 weeks, N7 Day came out. And what N7 Day is, it is a celebration of Mass Effect. It is the anniversary of Mass Effect. The reason they celebrate it on November 7th is because the ship you fly in these games is called the N7 Normandy. Okay? Well, every year they do something. They talk about Mass Effect a little bit. They let us know what's going on. And this year they kind of dropped something on us. So, as usual, they did a blog for N7 Day. Okay? They usually do some type of blog celebrating Mass Effect and just kind of talking about it a little bit. But this year, we had kind of had two bombs dropped on us in terms of what to expect from Mass Effect. So, this here is the official blog site, okay? And it's at BioWare. And if you scroll down here, and there's some stuff here about games and stuff, but we're going to skip all that and talk about what's down here. Looking at this, it says, beyond the next game, there's more to get excited about. I haven't talked about it much, but you might have heard a little something about a TV series. We've been partnering closely with Amazon on it, and we're really excited what the talent team over there has come up with. The writer's room is growing strong, and we've got a lot figured out about how it fits within the Mass Effect canon, and where it sits in respect to the new game. The show will explore a brand new story within the universe's timeline, and it will be set after the original trilogy. It won't be a retread of Commander Shepard's story, because after all, that is your story, isn't it? This is such good news to me, okay? This is such good news to me. Because I've always thought that one of the big problems with game to movie or game to TV adaptations is that they always try to retell the game. Okay, we've already seen that story. Whether you're talking about Call of Duty, whether you're talking about Assassin's Creed, whatever. We've already seen that story. Okay, we've already know those characters. A game to movie adaptation should enhance the game and make you want to play the game again by adding stuff to the game. Not just trying to retell the game. Okay? Whether that is adding new characters or having it taking place in just the same world but somewhere else. I mean, literally, it should add to the game, not just try and retell it. Now then, the first big question about this, about it being after the game, is what choice are they going to have Shepard make? See, in the third game, okay, a race of synthetic organisms, basically technology comprised AI organisms, a species of AI basically, was running rampage across the universe. They had invaded Earth, and Shepard had found a device to stop them. When he gets to the place where he's supposed to turn this device on, he finds another AI that basically gives him three choices. Choice one would be to destroy all synthetic life throughout the universe. Choice two would be he could control the organisms, become a part of their AI, and basically take control of them. Or the third choice would be that he could merge biology with the synthetic organisms called the Reapers into entirely new, making neither both pure biology and pure synthetic. So the question is, which choice are they going to have? Okay, which choice are they going to do? I really think that is the first big question we have. The second question is, how is Andromeda going to play in this? There was a game a while back called Mass Effect Andromeda that took place in a whole nother galaxy, but still in the same universe. So how will that play into that? Will that somehow play into what's going on here? Or will they just kind of push that to the side and say, okay, that's taking place over here. We're not going to worry with that, okay? I think another thing that I'm kind of curious about is even though it says here that the story will take place in a brand new timeline after the game's events, that it's going to have probably a new character, because it says right here that they won't be talking about Commander Shepard's story. Okay, because they had said right here it won't be a retread of Commander Shepard's story, um, because after all, that is your story. Okay, which I'm totally down with. Okay, if they want to have it take place in this universe but have a brand new character, I'm all for that. Okay, but I'm kind of wondering, are they going to have some of the characters from the games in there? Which characters survived the end? Because your choices determine which characters survived at the end of the game. So, in closing, I want to say this. I'm liking what I'm hearing so far. And I know it's just a blog post, okay? I know it's just an announcement that's coming. But I'm liking what I'm hearing so far, okay? They're not retelling the games. They're going to set it after the games. It sounds like they're going to try to add to the games and the lore of the games. By all accounts, they're following the lore of the games. Okay? The real questions we have is which characters are going to be included in the series. Because depending on your choices in all three games, some characters lived and some characters died. Okay? Another thing was, what ending did they choose to go with? Are they going to go with the ending where Shepard, the main character of the games, controls the Reapers, where he destroys them, where he basically merges all organic life with technology and basically makes everything, all organic life, half Reaper? I mean, what ending are they going with? I think that's another question they're going to have to kind of answer. But aside from those questions and a few others, I think they are off to a good start. They've made the announcement. They're coinciding it with the release of a game, which I'll talk about later on. And basically, they're following the lore they established in the first three games, and they're not trying to retell the games. Okay? And I think they have a real opportunity here. Because one of the powerful things about Mass Effect was the power of choice. Okay? Really was the power of choice. So if they set it up, and I'm not saying they are, but if they set it up to where somehow the viewers had the ability to choose the ending. Okay? And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a season that's leading up to something. And then over on X, or maybe even on the Amazon Prime video page, there's a poll. And basically the poll says, choose option A or B. Okay? Whatever the choices may be. And depending on how many people choose option A or option B, is the ending we'll get for that season. And then maybe over the summer, they do it again and say, okay, how do you want this season to start? Option A, option B. Okay? And let the players, or I should say, let the viewers choose what option they want for the season to start. Okay? I know they can't do that with every episode, but that would be something really cool if they were able to incorporate that power of choice from the Mass Effect games into the TV show. Okay? I mean, really, it'd be something cool. I know they can't do that with every episode because it would be too long between episodes. But I think that a good idea for them, because Mass Effect had that power of choice and it was a big part of it, is for somehow during the season have the viewers make it so the viewers can choose which option they want, and then write how the story progresses from there based on what the viewers choose. Okay, I think that would be a very cool option. But yeah, Mass Effect is coming as a TV series to Amazon Prime. They're not going to be following the game story, but they're going to be following the lore that was established. They're going to be setting it after the events of the game. And let me say, just based on this blog post we saw, I'm already happy by what I'm seeing so far, and I am going to keep my eye open on this.
Continuing on with the news from TV, movies, and anime from the past 2 weeks.
So, a little while back, there was an animated movie called the Super Mario Brothers movie. And by all accounts, it did pretty good. You know, we got Chris Pratt as Mario, and there were a lot of things in it for both kids and adults. I didn't see it because I just didn't have the opportunity to see it. But by all accounts, it did pretty well with both the fans of Mario and movies, okay? And for a while now, we've been hearing that we're getting a sequel. Just as I was getting ready to start recording my gaming news segment, the Super Mario Brothers sequel came out, and it's going to be called Super Mario Galaxy the movie. Now, I've not seen this trailer yet, okay? So this is going to be like my first reaction to this trailer. Because literally, as soon as I got up and saw this, I recorded this, okay? So let's take a look at the Super Mario Galaxy movie trailer, the sequel to Super Mario Brothers the movie. And I'll give you just some overall thoughts and impressions on it. But this here is the upcoming trailer for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Okay, by all accounts, they're still kind of keeping that animation style. I mean, they're basically keeping the same animation style. Okay, so they're not changing that up a little bit, which I'm kind of happy for, because that was one of the draws of the original Super Mario Brothers movie. Okay, was that animation style, that 3D animation, and really the goofiness of it. That they had fun with the property. Okay. Okay, that's kind of funny right there. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That's funny. I'm glad they're still seeing that they're having fun with the property.
Hey, big guy! Oh. You wanted to see us?
Don't move, I'll be right up. Sipping the soup, cleaning the paint, boodle-doo, boodle-doo, and also trim the bonsai bush. Here we go. Hey, Luigi! What's up, Mario? Behold! I made a masterpiece for Princess Peach. What do you think?
Love the colors!
It's trash.
How dare you look at my masterpiece and say that?
I'll burn the skin off your bones!
Wow. Sorry about that. That's the old Bowser talking. Still working through my demons, I suppose. Anyway, I need my 8 hours or else I really turn into a monster.
Okay, one of the things, and I'm going to go back here for a minute, is I've never played Super Mario Galaxy, okay? But one of the things that Mario would do would he would go from one planet to another using these like star jumps or whatever you want to call them. And I'm seeing that right here with Peach and Toad. See, right here. I'm seeing that again with them like being thrown to another planet using these star jumps. Okay, so they are incorporating some of the elements of the game into the movie, which I am liking a lot, okay? And I'm liking that Peach is not just a damsel in distress, that it can have some action, okay?
Bowser Jr., and I'm gonna be taking my father now!
Princess Rosalina, you're coming with me!
Okay, I really don't know who Rosalina is, okay? And I'm really out with all the Super Mario lore and all that stuff. But she looks pretty badass. I'm just not gonna lie about that. She looks kick butt, alright? So, some final things I kind of want to talk about. First off, I like the overall trailer, okay? I like the fact that they're keeping the animation style. They're still having fun with the properties. They didn't have Rosalina speak, but I'm being told that she's being played, or she's going to be voiced by Brie Larson. I think Chris Pratt is coming back as Mario, but I didn't really hear it in this trailer. But I do think that he is coming back as Mario. Jack Black is supposed to be coming back as Bowser. I didn't recognize who voiced Bowser Jr. I don't know a whole lot about Princess Rosalina. Okay, because I am not up to date with the Super Mario lore at all. I mean, the last Mario game I played was Super Mario World. Okay, back on the Super Nintendo. And this came out for... I have to say, I'm glad they're having fun with it. Okay? They're not trying to make a serious, Mario movie out of this. Okay? They're still having fun with it like they did with the original Super Mario Brothers movie that came out a couple years ago. Alright? So, overall, I'm liking what I'm seeing. But to be completely honest, it doesn't feel like a movie for someone who's 40 years old who played Mario in the past. This feels like a movie for someone who maybe is playing Super Mario Galaxy and the more recent Super Mario Brothers games. Okay? And I'm down with that. They know their audience and they're following through with it. I have no problem with that. Will I go and see it? Not in theater because... there ain't really any theaters around where I live at. But I might try and check it out sometime online through streaming or something when it comes to streaming. But yeah, that was the Super Mario Brothers movie. It looked pretty dope. And I'm liking what I'm seeing because they're not trying to change anything with Mario Brothers or anything, okay? They're just having fun with this IP. They're having fun with this property, okay? So, yeah, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And I think that this one will do about as well as the original Super Mario Brothers movie.
Continuing on with the news from TV, movies, and anime from the past 2 weeks.
So, before we close out our movie and TV portion of this Geek Report, I kind of want to talk about a trailer that kind of dropped just as I was getting ready to get everything edited and put together. And that is the upcoming series trailer for Season 2 of Fallout. Now, Season 1 had already happened, okay? I've not seen Season 1, and it's been so long since I played the games. But Fallout is basically an adaptation of the Fallout video games, which basically talk about people coming out of these vaults after a nuclear apocalypse to find the world has been completely changed and ravaged and all that. Okay? Like I said before, I'm not very familiar with a lot of the lore of Fallout, and I did not see Season 1. So, we're going to check out this trailer, and I'm going to just give you some of my own thoughts and opinions on it. But this here is the trailer for Season 2 of the Amazon Prime series, Fallout.
So I've seen a lot of things. Many a deer have to fall. Crazy things.
Okay, one of the things that already I'm recognizing is the weird creature right here, because it is part of Fallout lore that the radiation kind of mutated everything. So we're probably going to get some pretty weird creatures in here.
Unnatural things in the game. But good people? No.
That girl I met.
All in the wonderful game. I would be a good person too if I grew up in some cozy little impenetrable home. I would have to steal and stab and fib all the goddamn time just to get by.
What exactly is it you plan on doing once we find your daddy?
Gonna bring him to justice. So people know that how they conduct themselves matters. And they don't give up hope.
The stuff we fight for.
Now, on the screen, over in the left-hand corner of the screen, you'll see a flag, and it says New California Republic. I remember hearing from about season one, that the New California Republic played a big part in the first season of Fallout. So I'm kind of wondering if the same is going to happen here, that they're going to play a big part in Fallout Season 2.
About hope.
The stuff we fight for. Story has it you used to believe in those things too.
I've been wastelanding for 200 years. I've kept myself alive for one reason. To find my family.
Well then, you're gonna need friends. There's a war coming. Soon he'll be there at your
Now, this scene right here really does say that we're going to at least see a huge part of Season 2 in California. Because that's obviously California right there, okay? That ain't the Virginia backwoods, that's California. So I think it's quite obvious that we're going to see a huge part of Season 2 in California.
I understand we're discussing the Civil War. I must not have gotten my invitation.
It's kind of a 1950s type of deal. Where a lot of the technology looks like it's from the 1940s and 50s. You're not going to see flat screen TVs anywhere, okay? But in the same type, you're also going to see like mechanized armor like we saw just a few seconds ago. See, like right here. That looks like a 1950s type of television, but really, it looks also futuristic at the same time, which is very much a hallmark of the Fallout series, both in games and in TV.
We're actually beginning to get along.
Try again.
Now, this is something I do recognize. They are going to New Vegas in this season. Now, a lot of Fallout fans know New Vegas. It's kind of like Mos Eisley's Cantina in Star Wars, okay? The scum of the earth congregated in New Vegas after the bombs fell, okay? Monsters, psychos, you name it. So, the fact that they're having New Vegas in this is kind of like having Mos Eisley's Cantina in Star Wars. Okay? It's going to be the worst of the worst, all in one place with complete insanity. Okay? It's going to be complete insanity.
So this is Vegas, huh? I'd ask why my dad ran into a den of monsters, but he'd probably just tell me to shut the fudge up.
And it is coming out on December 17th. I really don't have a problem with this because, over on Disney Plus, The Mandalorian, when it started, it came out in December. And everyone thought it was going to fail, but it became this huge hit. And the reason for that was because people were basically locked in their homes, but also because people were going to grandma and grandpa for Christmas and stuff. So it's a perfect, I think it's a perfect time to premiere something that you're not too sure of, okay? Because honestly, you're going to have people who are going to be bored out of their mind and who are just going to basically go to Amazon Prime or any of the streaming services and watch shows. And Amazon Prime just happens to have Fallout. So yeah, I think it's a pretty decent time to premiere something. So in conclusion, I want to say this looks like a pretty decent trailer. And I'm pretty sure there were some huge story points that I missed throughout this trailer. But all in all, I liked what I saw in this trailer, okay? I thought it was goofy. It wasn't trying to take itself like super serious. It was trying to stay in the same vein as Fallout from what I know of Fallout. And we're going to places that people will recognize, like the New California Republic and New Vegas. We're going to these places that both the fans of the series will recognize and more importantly, the fans of the games will recognize. And from all accounts, they're not trying to change the lore of Fallout or anything. Okay? Now, like I said before, I'm not very familiar with Fallout. But based on what I've heard and what I've seen in this trailer, it doesn't look like they're trying to change the lore or anything. Okay? That they're not trying to go in their own direction, but still call it Fallout. Okay? But yeah, that was Fallout Season 2. It's going to premiere on December 17th. Like I said before, it looks like a pretty good trailer. And to be all honest with you, it kind of makes me want to see if I can find Season 1 for free on Amazon. But it looks to be a pretty decent trailer. But yeah, that was Fallout. It's going to come on November 17th, 2025. Like I said before, it doesn't make me want to get Amazon Prime, but it looks to be a pretty decent show that can make both gamers and fans of the TV show happy.
Now moving on, let's move on to this episode's video game segment. So, let's see what news dropped in the past 2 weeks in the world of video games.
Now, starting off with our gaming news segment. Earlier, I talked about Mass Effect and the Mass Effect Amazon show that's supposed to be in development right now. Okay? Well, that wasn't all the news we got concerning Mass Effect. So, we are going to go back to the N7 Day blog. And this all dropped on N7 Day, November 7th. Because the main ship you fly in this game, in this series of games, is called the N7 Normandy. Okay, so November 7th, that sort of thing. And if you scroll down here, you'll see this. It says, like you, we've heard the rumors lately. You've made it clear you care deeply about what's next, so let's start by setting the record straight. The next Mass Effect game is in development, and EA and BioWare remain committed to telling more stories in the universe. And it talks about the last few years have been busy for BioWare. They're exclusively focused on Mass Effect. They've got a lot of universe to cover, lots of features to build, romances to figure out. We're excited about what we're building, and we promise you when we're ready, it'll be a lot of fun to show. Until then, thank you for your patience because y'all are thirsty for the news. And I see you looking for secret meaning in my tweets. Okay, sometimes they have secret meaning. Okay, so really what this tells us is the next Mass Effect game is in development. Okay? Now, there's a couple of questions here. First off, like I said earlier, one of the things about Mass Effect was the power of choice. So I think one of the things they're going to have to talk about when their first trailer drops is what choice was made. Okay, did you choose to destroy the Reapers? Did you choose to control them? or did you choose to merge Reapers and biology together? Okay, I think that's something that they're going to have to talk about in their first trailer. Another thing is who all lived and who all died. Okay, I think that's another thing they're going to have to talk about in the trailer. They're really going to have to explain the choices that were made and what lore they're following for the next game. Now, they could do something completely different and basically have a separate story, kind of a side story to Shepard's story, where you have another Spectre, which is basically a space marshal, okay, go out and have his own adventure with the Reapers, and the two somehow coincide. Okay, they could be doing that, or they could be telling the story about what happened after the Reaper invasion. Okay, I really hope they don't do Andromeda, because I did not like Andromeda, because I know what they were trying to do with Mass Effect Andromeda. I just did not like Mass Effect Andromeda, okay? Because really it felt like they were trying to start back from square one again, and I just didn't like it, okay? But yeah, the next Mass Effect is being created now. They've got a ton of stuff to talk about. They're not ready to show a trailer yet, but I suspect probably by the end of next year they will. Because I don't think they're going to wait too long to kind of drop what they're doing with us in terms of a trailer. I wouldn't be surprised if they did something at the upcoming Game Awards, but I'm not expecting a trailer. Okay? Not yet, anyway. But yeah, the next Mass Effect, not only are we getting a new Mass Effect series, we're also getting a new Mass Effect game, which is coming soon. But we're going to let them take them time and let them cook on it.
Let's continue taking a look at the news from the world of video games from the past 2 weeks.
So, next year, there's a huge game coming out. And I'm specifically talking about Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, originally this was supposed to come out like in February or May timeframe. The early 2026 timeframe. And everyone who was making the game was kind of moving the release schedule around for their new games because everyone's going to be playing Grand Theft Auto 6. The hype behind Grand Theft Auto 6 is so massive right now that studios are moving their games around so as to not interfere with Grand Theft Auto 6. Well, we got an update recently from the developers. And it seems like they're going to have to move their... It seems like these studios, all these studios are going to have to start redoing their schedules again. Because Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed until November of 2026. This here is the actual blog talking about it. And this is from Rockstar, and it said, "Hey everyone, Grand Theft Auto 6 will now release on Thursday, November 19th, 2026. We are sorry for additional time to what we realize has been a long wait, but these extra months will allow us to finish the game with the level of polish you have come to expect and deserve. We want to thank you again for your patience and support while we wait is a little longer. We are incredibly excited for players to experience the sprawling state of Leonida and a return to modern-day Vice City. Sincerely, Rockstar Games, the developers of Grand Theft Auto 6. This is like huge news. Okay, this is literally huge news. Because now you've got, Activision and wanting to bring out Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 right around the November time frame. You've got all the big winter games coming out next year that are going to have to kind of move their schedules around. So this is going to really shake up next year's opening schedule for the games. Because there's a lot of games that come out right around October and November to take advantage of that Black Friday rush that happens every year. But with Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out, either one of two things are going to happen. Either you're going to see a lot of games suddenly opening early, or you're going to see a lot of games delayed until 2027. I'm kind of hoping for the latter, so that way it gives those developers more time to polish off their games, especially when it comes to Call of Duty. But this changes up a lot of stuff concerning the video game market next year during the holidays of 2026. Okay? Because this game has so much hype behind it, it ain't even funny. Okay? So, just to kind of reiterate what I'm talking about, Grand Theft Auto 6, one of the biggest titles to release in 2026, will now be releasing just before Black Friday on November 19th of 2026. And this is going to completely change up the whole makeup of the holiday gaming market next year.
Let's continue taking a look at the news from the world of video games from the past 2 weeks.
So before we close out this episode of the Geek Report, I wanted to talk about one final trailer, and it comes from a very big property. You know, every console has its one property. That one property that everyone knows. With Microsoft, you have Halo. With Sony, you have God of War or Uncharted. With Nintendo, you've got Super Mario, you've got Link, and finally, you've got Metroid. And the trailer we're going to talk about is the new trailer for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Now, in all honesty, I've not played a Metroid game since the Super Nintendo. Okay, so I am very much out of the loop when it comes to story elements and all that stuff. Okay, but what I know of the Prime series, and it started on the Wii, is that unlike the old and some of the other Metroid games like Dread that have come out, where it's side-scrolling shooter, okay, Metroid takes place from a first-person perspective. So think of it like a Metroid version of Doom or Call of Duty, okay? And they're coming out with the fourth one, Beyond, soon. It's coming out on December 4th. So let's take a look at the trailer, and I'll give you some of my own thoughts and opinions on it. The upcoming game, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Okay, first off, the first thing I'm seeing is they're bringing back the old entrance to Samus, where she lands the ship and kind of jumps out of her ship. But I'm going to go back to the beginning of the trailer because I think there's a question that needs to be asked there. Okay, that scene you saw where she's flying the ship and shooting, I'm kind of wondering if they're going to incorporate that into the game somehow. Like there's going to be missions where or situations where you have to get in your ship and kind of fly around and shoot a little bit. Okay, so I'm kind of wondering if they're going to do that. Okay, but either way, just by the first start of this trailer, you can tell this is going to be a more action-oriented game than, say, the previous Prime games. Okay, this ain't going to be so much about exploration as action. And I have to say, some of the scenes in this are absolutely beautiful, okay? I think it is really showcasing what the Nintendo Switch 2 can do, okay? So I don't think this is so much as a trailer for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, but a showcase of really what the Nintendo Switch 2 can do. Okay, I'm glad they're bringing back the scan feature. Okay, here we see her scanning a Cybot soldier. So I'm not sure, but I think that's what's part of the space pirates that she faces, not exactly the alien Metroids. So I'm glad they're bringing back that feature. And they just showed off a lot of stuff that's going to be happening, like some of her powers and all that stuff. There you have one of the constants of the Metroid games, where she kind of, rolls up into a ball and starts spinning around the whole, battlefield. Okay, so that's part of the Metroid experience as well. Now, this right here is something new. Okay, the motorcycle. I have never seen a Metroid game or played a Metroid game that had a motorcycle in it. Okay, so I'm kind of wondering what purpose the motorcycle will play. And, because, like, in the Metroid games, you can go from one area to another. And usually it's done by either an elevator or some type of teleporter. But now they're introducing a motorcycle, which can kind of change things up a little bit. Now, that right there is what I'm talking about. I'm going to go back a minute and let you see what I'm talking about. See, right there, she's shooting a missile at some type of creature. Okay? This is very reminiscent of Shadow of the Colossus or God of War, where you go to different areas and you fight in between those areas. So, from what I'm gathering, the motorcycle will not only be used as a transport, but also as an attack vehicle. And I'm kind of wondering if they're going to have certain bosses where you have to use the motorcycle in order to defeat those bosses. Or if there are going to be situations where if you need a power-up, you've got to go and use the motorcycle to get that power-up. So that was the Nintendo Switch 2 of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. It's going to be available on December 4th. Let me say this, okay? I like what I saw in the trailer, and I'm pretty certain there's some story elements that I'm missing, okay? I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm pretty certain there's going to be some story elements I've missed in this trailer. But it looks to be a pretty decent trailer. Okay, it looks to be a pretty good game. Alright, and I really don't know what else to say because it's been so long since I played a Metroid game. Okay, I've not had a Nintendo since the N64. But if there was one game that would make me want to buy a Nintendo Switch 2, it would be Metroid Prime 4. Just based on this trailer alone, because it does look that good. Okay, whether you're talking about the graphics, the imagery, the gameplay, whatever. Okay, I mean, that's why Samus Aran, is known as big as she is for everything. Okay, from every aspect of gaming, she's one of those seminal figures. And it looks to be like they're continuing that legacy with Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. But anyway, that was the trailer for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. It's coming out December 4th for the Nintendo Switch 2. Does it make me want to jump up and buy a Nintendo Switch 2? No. But if I was going to get a console, this would definitely be one of the reasons to get a Nintendo Switch 2. Okay? Just in all honesty. Because this does look good. And it does feel like a game meant for me. Okay, one of those people who love first-person shooters and stuff. It feels like that type of game for the Nintendo Switch 2. But yeah, it's coming out December 4th, and while it doesn't make me want to jump up and buy a Nintendo Switch 2, it is making it very enticing to go do so. Okay, so yeah, I'm totally down with it. I think it's a great trailer. I think it'll be a great game, and I think it's going to be a great continuing legacy for Metroid. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was your Geek Report for the weeks of November 3rd through November 14th of 2025. To kind of review what we all talked about, I started off in our movie and TV news segment where I talked about the new Mass Effect show that's in production at Amazon. We then moved on and talked about the Super Mario Galaxy trailer that dropped this past 2 weeks. And then we've talked about Fallout Season 2 dropping its trailer. Then we moved on into our gaming news segment, where I talked about a new Mass Effect game being put in production at BioWare. Then we talked about the ramifications of Grand Theft Auto 6 being delayed until November 19th of 2026. And we took a look at the new Metroid Prime 4 Beyond trailer. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are staying well, staying healthy, and staying safe. Check out my other geek reports as well as my gameplay and other videos over on YouTube and Rumble. And check out my social media over on X. I will see you guys in the next video and in the next stream. Laters.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this episode of the Geek Report. I hope you enjoyed it. If you got a moment, please check out my other video sites as well as my social media and give them a like and follow. I will see you all in the next video and the next stream. Laters.